Just Chris came back last week. I mean, how do you feel like he did in his return?
Well, when he first started out, I wasn't even sure really we were going to start him. It's one of those deals all the way up to game time when we saw he was moving, and started the game. He was rusty in some spots, and rested him. I mean, not being out there with the reps and things, I could tell that he got tired pretty quick. He comes back off, sent him back in a series, and I was just watching him, and as the game went, he seemed to, he got over the hump, got loosened up a little bit. He was moving better, and then that competitive spirit come back in him. He finished the game really strong. I mean, his fourth quarter was a lot better than the first three, So he finished really good, and I hope that's something good for what's fixing to happen the next 2 or 3 games, hopefully.
Coach Muschamp, I guess, came out and said that they need to throw the ball deeper, get some bigger plays. Are you expecting them to come after you guys?
Oh, yeah. And it's part of their game, Coach Weiss's game. They got great speed, and anybody with their kind of speed, they're going to come deep. And it's part of the territory these days, kind of, it seems like everybody's got that kind of speed. And but yeah, they've got a couple of guys. I mean, they got Thompson they love to get the ball to in certain situations, and he's a deep threat along with the Bulls, and all those guys. So they got some guys that can really run. And the thing about them, is their running backs and all is a big part of also their passing game. And them guys can really run. So they got tremendous speed. And yeah, they're going to take the shots.
How difficult is it as a secondary when you don't have a whole lot of film to watch on quarterbacks you're probably going to be playing?
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to prepare for all of them. You got to understand that a program like Florida's going to have some guys who can throw the ball 50, 60 yards. I mean, and the thing about taking deep shots, got a guy with a good arm, and you can max protect anybody. Throw the deep ball out there when you got somebody with their speed. So that's always a concern, whoever's at quarterback. But then you got to look at all of them, and you got to try to, anticipate what each of them are capable of doing. And they've got 3 or 4 threats that are different. And I think that they'll probably have different game plans for each and every one of them, which, you have to extra prepare for. So that's something we've had to do all week is, we wonder the same thing. Which approach are they going to take in this game? So.
Having been on the same staff with both Chizik and Muschamp, what are the similarities or differences?
Very competitive. Both of them are very, very competitive, which made them great defensive coaches, And I've had the opportunity to work with a bunch of them, and Will being one of them, Coach Chizik. But again, the competitive fire, Will brings that, to them, and they will be inspired, And not only that, but they have a defensive back coach there that played under me, and and coached with me. So, there's a lot of similarities in what we try to do defensively and how we approach the game.
Last week, did you feel like you guys took another step forward after a little struggle there early on, especially in the second half?
Sure. I mean, you always try to build on something. And our deal each time we go out there is to improve. And faced a great offense last week, a lot of speed. I mean, we're going to face the same thing every week. I mean, if you look from this game and you look at the next one, there is no breaks in this conference, And and that's our goal to start with is, hey, look, we're here now. When we finish, we want to each week improve on something. We want to continue to climb, And we've got a young group, so they know they did some good things last week. Of course, we also point out the mistakes. We made enough mistakes too, that took this week all week trying to correct those. But there's some really good receivers last week, and we did some really good things in the game, and hopefully, carry over and we can get better this week.
Anything else? Jermaine Whitehead seems to be a guy that has a bigger role now. Talk about him kind of coming on and playing some of that nickel.
Well, Jermaine has really stepped up. Like I said, with his body type and everything, we're able to move him inside the nickel spot. Which, with the nickel, anytime you play nickel, dime, or whatever, the nickel is a more physical spot. He has to, take over for a linebacker that's used to playing a lot of run fits. But he's also got to have enough speed to match, their third best receiver, let's say, if you get the matchups that way. But so Jermaine really is a freshman. He's way ahead of the game, way ahead of the curve. T-Bell plays in there some for us, but by being able to move him inside has been, a deal where we can move T-Bell back outside, and still have that depth. And of course, we're continuing to work a lot of those young guys in there. But he has really improved. His anticipation is getting better, understanding of the game, the check systems. So he's getting more comfortable each week. Just keep him well.